Welcome in to a very, very special edition of the RAS College Football Show. This is week 13, and you guys know we typically have a format, a format that some of you have complained about, but you know what? You just have to deal with it. But Eddie has been nice enough this week. We both kind of put our heads together, and we agreed that it's a lighter slate in terms of the marquee games. So this is going to be an RAS College Football Show extravaganza where when I say I really just mean Eddie, me sitting here, looking pretty and nod my head. Eddie is going to take your requests and your ask about specific games on the board. And I'm going to leave it up to him. Whenever he's ready to call it, we'll call it. But if you want to, get some questions in, make sure to do that in the chat. I know Eddie has already gotten some on social media. So Eddie, always good to see you, my man. Before we get to the requests, I know you do have a best bet for the fans today as well.
Yeah, sure. It's going to be game 189, 190, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be Kennesaw State, Missouri State, under 56.5. I think we caught a break. So Kennesaw State goes and plays kind of a shootout against Jacksonville State, but the market ignores the fact that there was a Hail Mary in that game and a fluky 2-point conversion. Lots of points were scored on gimme points. And then Missouri State goes and plays kind of a shootout against UTEP, which is kind of hard to do. But UTEP only had 240 yards in that game. Both these teams have been extraordinarily good unders to me all season long. Specifically, Missouri State. They were tough on me in the beginning of the year because they gave up 1,000 yards at USC. So it made them look like they're going to be an over. But they play slow. You're not going to run on them. It's pretty hard to pass on them, too. Another key thing is that Kennesaw State's quarterback, Odom, he might not play in this game. He got hurt, and Williams had to finish the game last week. If it's Williams, they're much more of a pedestrian offense. I like Missouri State's side a little bit, but I like the under much, much more than anything else.
All right, there you go. So you put the bat signal out earlier this week because, again, it's a little bit of a lighter slate, and so I will just kind of cede the floor to you, my friend, in terms of the games that you want to touch on, and we'll just kind of go from there.
I'm gonna do them all. I think I got about 20 games here, so we're gonna roll right through all of them.
Okay.
Sam Houston State, Middle Tennessee State. I didn't do anything. Need to figure out whether or not Middle Tennessee State's Vatatio, the quarterback, is going to play on Senior Day. He was benched after throwing 2 pick sixes against FIU 2 weeks ago. Didn't play against Western Kentucky last week. If he's playing, then I'll probably be on the over. I think it's gotten bet down a little bit too much considering how bad Sam Houston State's and Middle Tennessee State's defenses are. If he's not playing, it's just simply a pass for me. Pitt, Jaw Tech. I personally really, really like Pitt in this matchup. I can't get to the number, though. Pitt's run defense is really, really solid. Georgia Tech's defense is an absolute sieve right now. They have far too many injuries. Really considered playing the over there, but it's extraordinarily close to where I am. I'm at 63. If it gets bet down much more, if it gets to 60 if it gets to 60, I'm probably going to have to take a flyer on it. I don't know. It'd be a smaller bet. Next one is going to be Tennessee and Florida. I just want to keep on playing these Tennessee overs when I get the opportunity, but I don't trust Lagway to do that for me. 4 felt pretty much right on. I was hoping for a little bit better if I was going to bet Florida because this is kind of the only game that matters, and it's also Senior Day. They do have quite a few seniors on defense. Nothing there. The next one I do have a bet on that was significant. Cal, Stanford. You can't convince me that Stanford is 2.5 points better on a neutral field, by the way. This is not a home field advantage situation. These stadiums are like separated by 15 miles. Anybody that's going to this game you probably get more Cal fans, actually. Stanford doesn't show up for their home games. Stanford is 134th in pass defense. They can't run the ball. Cal has a great pass defense, 45th in the nation. Not only that, Cal has a much superior team and quarterback, and they know who their coach is. I like what Reich has done, but I just can't possibly consider why in the world Stanford is basically 2.5 points on neutral field. That doesn't add up to me. That didn't add up at any point in the season. So this number was far too low. I took Cal. Baylor, Arizona, extraordinarily tricky matchup. I don't have anything in this game. I can only play over, but Arizona is not a team you want to play over with, especially against a pass-heavy offense. They're, I think, 5th in the nation in pass defense. They keep everything in front of them. Speaking of like coaches who should get a job, Danny Gonzalez, the defensive coordinator for Arizona, that dude is unbelievably good at defensive coordinator, and he got a raw gig at New Mexico where they had no funding. There are cheating allegations with a special teams coach. He should probably deserve a job somewhere. Nothing there. I do have something in Kentucky and Vandy. I played over for a couple of reasons. One, the last time I saw Vandy, they gave up like 50 points to Auburn. Now, you might say, well, that's because Hugh Freeze left. I have concerns about Vandy's defense, specifically their pass defense. Now, Boley for Kentucky doesn't really scare you on the surface. Another thing that works in my favor is Pavia. He's a Heisman candidate. He's going to want to put up big numbers. This Kentucky secondary hasn't been good all year long. Thought this number was a little bit low. Ended up playing that this morning. I think a 53. TCU Houston. I don't have anything in this game either. I really wanted to play TCU. I missed all the key numbers. There were like threes at places that don't take real bets on Sunday afternoon. Not really my thing. I think the TCU no showing at BYU last week allows you a little bit of value on this side here. But I can't, unless it's 3 again somewhere down the road, I can't really get involved. You can only play overs in games with TCU. I learned that the hard way with BYU last week. Their pass defense isn't very good. They can only throw the ball. They can't run the ball. Incompletions don't hurt you in games like this. I'm at 56. It was too close. FSU and NC State. I don't have anything here quite yet. I will tell you, if FSU keeps on getting money, I will be on NC State. FSU hasn't won a road game in 2 years. I don't know what's going on with that staff, but they're a very, very weird team in the fact that they only show up at home. They play to the level of their opponent, it feels like to me.
Yep.
And NC State needs a win to get to a bowl. That's a pretty serious thing there for them. It's been kind of a bad year, specifically since they had to rebuild their entire defense and lost everybody to the portal along with their defensive coordinator who became a head coach. I don't see FSU as being a powerhouse to where you can convince me that they're 10 points better than NC State on the road or NC State on neutral. I like the quarterback for NC State a lot more than I like Castellanos. So probably going to end up on NC State at some point. Did consider taking the over, but 60 is kind of high for an FSU team that prefers to run the ball. They were playing faster earlier in the season, and we found some significant chances to play over with them. Those have kind of gone away. They're playing more ball control. Speaking of coaches that probably deserve a chance at a head coaching job, maybe a G5 job, is White, the defensive coordinator for FSU. I like him. He deserves a shot. FIU and Jacksonville State. I wanted to play over super, super bad, and I still might. I think the Jacksonville State is like insanely underrated, though. I know that this is FIU Super Bowl, and if they win this game, they go to a bowl game for like the first time in a decade or whatever.
Yeah.
But Jacksonville State just beat Kennesaw State and beat them handedly. They're undefeated in Conference USA. They clinch a championship game spot with a win here. I might end up on Jacksonville State. I just feel like FIU's quarterback situation, Pasansky was better than Jenkins from what I saw last week. And they run the ball extremely well. I mean, they're like top 40 run offense all of a sudden. I don't think Jacksonville State's defense is very good. Looking for a better, more fair number there. Made a significant bet in South Carolina. I laid it. Coastal Carolina's quarterback is now out for the year, Collier. They have to go to Tad Hudson. He is a 4-stringer. It changes their offense dramatically. For one, I don't think they were going to have much success against South Carolina to begin with. It's also senior day, and it's the last chance that Lenora Sellers is ever going to be on that field. I think this is a total mismatch. At the beginning of the season, this game, this side would be like 31. So we get a massive break of probably a touchdown here. Not that I love South Carolina necessarily, but I just think that 24 is kind of low for sure. Next one is going to be North Texas and Rice. I played over 54, 55, somewhere in there. First of all, North Texas needs to score a lot of points, and they need to kind of win handedly. The problem with North Texas is they don't defend the run at all. 129th in the nation. They struggled mightily against any team that can run the ball. Rice is more ball control, but if they get behind, they do go faster. And they're going to be behind at some point in this game, possibly significantly. Hell, North Texas might score 49 or maybe even 56 on their own. Rice, very, very hard team for me to read. One of the few teams I've really struggled with all season long. Beginning of the year, we were so excited to play Rice overs. And of course, like they go 0-3 to the over, I think weeks 1 through 3. And then as soon as we stop betting overs, they become like an over machine. That's just the way that works. Next one is going to be UNC and Duke. So yeah, UNC and Duke is very interesting to me. UNC is getting a lot of credit for beating teams without a quarterback. If you go back and you look at teams that were capable with good quarterbacks, Clemson, et cetera, they blew the doors off of UNC early in the season. And then they play the close game against Cal, then they beat the Syracuse. They get involved in these very, very low scoring games. They cannot continue to be conservative. I wanted to play Duke. My numbers wouldn't allow me to. If you have a lean on Duke, I definitely wouldn't shy away from it. Fresno is hosting Utah State. I took Utah State +3. I would be very shocked if they didn't win the game outright, to be quite honest with you. I think that Fresno is a complete fraud. They haven't played any teams with quarterbacks or passing games the last month. The one game that they were supposed to be, pretty capable and, they're probably a big dog, and they're a 17-point dog against Boise. Boise's quarterback gets hurt. He throws 3 interceptions in a row. Fresno runs away with that game. Then they play Wyoming. I mean, this is a team that really, really struggled to put away Nevada like just a month ago. This is a different ball of wax here. Mendenhall's going to have his team absolutely prepared to win the game, and they need a bowl. They need a win to secure a bowl. Fresno State made a change to a running quarterback who hasn't had to throw the ball, hasn't really had any issues of facing a capable defense in about a month now. So I think that changes. Washington, UCLA, I passed on. I can only take Washington, but the number is absolutely where I made it. I was 11 and I was at 52. I don't know what Nico's status is. Maybe give UCLA some juice there if he comes back.
Yep.
I don't know if he will, though. I mean, he's a little weird for me. I don't necessarily buy the Nico noise, hardly ever.
Right.
I would not be surprised if he plays or if he's in the transfer portal tomorrow morning when I wake up.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he's just a quarterback that, he got paid a lot of money to go to UCLA. He got a lot of money to go to Tennessee. Then he got paid a lot of money to go here. And he hasn't really shown me a lot. He had the one game against Penn State where he looked absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
But that was more of a Penn State thing, I think.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm not in the Nico camp, unfortunately. I just took Temple +10 about a half an hour ago. Chris? Oh, I'm sorry, John. Cut you off there.
Wow. I mean, this
we'll
is
get to that game.
How long we've been doing the show together?
Yeah.
I never step on your toes on the
I know. I'm sorry.
It's just unbelievable what
I know. I'm sorry.
The lengths that Sharps will go.
Oh man. I know.
While we're on the subject, I'm going to give it out here. Yes, Temple. Eddie got his bet from me. Temple, and I'm going to give out a worse number, +9.5. There are some 10s out there, but my man Ed is going to grade me on the worst number, basically. So Temple +9.5. Tulane's coach. I'm sure it's going to be in your handicap as well, but he's been flirting with other jobs, meeting, not meeting. It just feels like his attention is definitely elsewhere this week. And then it feels like this is kind of a sleepy spot, even though there's still a lot on the line here. Tulane's just trying to win the game, right? They're just trying to survive and get to the American Conference Championship game. And so I think Temple can play spoiler here and keep this close. I expect they'll do that. So that's what I've got.
Nice. All right. That was your best bet.
Yes.
All right.
Did I miss anything in the handicap? What am I missing?
I think the Temple has coming off of a bye. Tulane looked very unimpressive and uninspired against FAU last week. I don't know what Tulane does well. Like if you look at their advanced stats, like they're not good against the pass. They're kind of good at running the ball. They don't pass the ball very efficiently. I think that they've played an extraordinarily easy schedule, other than the Ole Miss where they, we were on Ole Miss obviously, but I don't know. I just feel like having to fly from New Orleans to Philadelphia, playing a game while your coach is interviewing literally for SEC jobs is pretty bad. It doesn't make me feel good about them. Continuing on here with more games that were asked about, Kansas and Iowa State. I ended up playing under 56, which is still available. I don't really quite understand why this total is high as it is. I think that both teams are really ball control this year. Jada Daniels has been very, very mediocre, to say the least, compared to expectations. Rocco Becht is without wide receivers. I think it might be because the secondary is rather banged up for Iowa State. But, I mean, they looked really good against TCU and won that game. I just think that both teams play too slow to have a total this high, personally. All right, couple more. USF and UAB. Mike Raz, my good friend, talked me into playing UAB. I played it rather small, to be quite honest with you, because I don't have a ton of trust. But he does make a fair point that USF season just came to an end last Saturday. They're eliminated basically from anything and everything. Forget the college football championship playoff race. I mean, They need a ton of help just to play in the AAC championship game at this point. And I mean, is Brown even going to finish the season? He has NFL aspirations. I don't know. I know that the pass defense is absolutely horrendous for USF. They looked like they weren't prepared for Navy to throw a single pass last week. And that was really, really alarming. I was on the over, thankfully, but that defense no-showed. And I also think that Golish is a terrible, terrible endgame coach. He botched that game against Memphis. He botched the game against Navy. The fact that that guy's going to end up at a P4 with a real job is pretty concerning to me, because I think he only cares about scoring points. One last one. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think he's going to end up like he was tweeting last night, like he's going to get a deal done with USF, aka the Power 4 offers didn't come.
I would be shocked if they did, especially after we've just seen too much evidence over the last 3 years that he is an absolute ridiculous mastermind of offense. But when it comes to like full game, calling timeouts at the right time, preparing his defense for optimal strategies and end game strategy, he's just not there for me. So I don't like that about him. One last one that somebody asked about. I did lay Miami minus 17 earlier in the week. I would probably lay 18 as well. Just think about this in a couple of ways. One, Miami really beats up bad teams. It's Cristobal that botches every close game. But if he's laying over 2 touchdowns, he's pretty damn comfortable. Another thing is that Miami needs to look good. They're now in the playoff talk. They're not going to be able to win the ACC. So they got to blow out and look really, really impressive in these games. Another thing that really, really struck me that I don't know if a lot of people have thought about, but Virginia Tech just named a coach for next season in week 12. That's never been, I don't have a sample size of that. That's never been done to my knowledge. What does this staff really care about this game? They're filling out applications. They're going to interviews. They're trying to find coordinator jobs. And half the team is in the portal all of a sudden. I mean, the only kids that care about this are kids that are maybe at senior day, and maybe you want to get film ready for next season for a different school. But I mean, you talk about a flat spot. It doesn't get any more flat than that. I mean, the coach's speech pregame might just be like, hey guys, let's try and make it look at least competitive, So
yep.
I felt pretty good about Miami. I don't like laying more than 2 touchdowns on the road normally. That just felt kind of like a good one. Another one that I'll just touch on really quick, and it wasn't asked about. I'll talk about 2 of them. They were more significant bets for me. One is Marshall App State over. I played this earlier in the week at a number that's no longer available, but there's still 55s and 56 out there. That's crazy talk. Marshall has absolutely no pass defense whatsoever. I was on them last week against Georgia State, and if Georgia State isn't Georgia State, they lose that game. They give up like 50-yard plays on accident sometimes, which is kind of weird because they have Tony Gibson. He's always got the guys in the right spot. They're just not talented enough to tackle. And App State just gave up 56 points, I believe, or maybe even 60 to JMU. Their defense has quit. Their defense quit against Georgia Southern. I saw it then. I saw it last week against JMU. There's got to be more points than 55 here. I mean, we're talking about a 28-28 game with a Marshall. I don't see that. The next one is going to be Air Force. I don't think I'm giving away anything too significant here, especially this late in the season. But Sarka, the quarterback that made this offense for Air Force just absolutely ridiculous, is out for the year. He broke his arm last week. So they go back to being a service academy team, and their offense is going to be very pedestrian. It's going to be really, really run heavy. I just saw New Mexico play against Colorado State and take about 35 seconds per snap when I'm laying 14 points against a Colorado State team that can't do anything on offense. And if Colorado State doesn't throw 2 pick sixes, essentially. I don't know if New Mexico wins that game, but it's very, very, very clear to me that Eck is extraordinarily ball control. So I played under there at a number that's not there anymore, but I'm not shy about saying that I would still play under 55 or 56, whatever it's at now. I just think that Air Force's defense has really figured something out too. They limited San Jose State to 16 points. That's a really good offense, especially a pass offense. Then they limited Connecticut last week to 26 points and only gave up 350 yards. I think Air Force is legit next season for sure. But for right now, I'm going to try and take advantage of the last couple of weeks. Also, if people are like saying, oh, well, Sarka's out and Air Force is probably done for the year, I wouldn't be so sure about that. Last year, they showed a ton of fight down the stretch and won those last 3 games that everybody would give up on them for. So they're playing at home. Senior day for cadets, pretty big deal. That's all I got.
What a machine.
All right.
What an absolute machine.
Hey.
I mean, I honestly feel like, you would be, if we ever need a filibuster again, I'm volunteering you, by the way.
Okay.
And I know our president was maybe trying to do away with that, but if we ever have to go back to it, I am going to volunteer you for that. And what an absolute beast you are for our audience today. I don't know if, do you have a time to take a couple here in the YouTube chat?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's go to James Madison. A couple people have asked about James Madison.
Yeah, this number makes no sense. So we just saw Washington State go to Ole Miss and lose by 4. We just saw Washington State go to Virginia and lose by 3. Now JMU is laying 13.5, and possibly for good reason. I mean, JMU, if they're up 7 with 2 minutes left, they have to score the touchdown, right? They have to try and make every single win impactful and as big as possible. I did not make this game higher than 11.5, and I didn't feel comfortable taking the dog. I did not make this total as high as 43, and I didn't feel comfortable taking the under. I mean, it's just one of those spots where I just need to stay away because my numbers are never going to make me feel comfortable. Like, I'm not going to go to bed on Friday night and go, I have a guaranteed winner in Washington State or in the under. It's just a bad spot. You're flying across the country to play a team that is trying to make it the playoff, an unforeseen thing. If you would have told me that JMU, who we did release over 8.5 in the regular season win total, would be in this spot, I'd tell you you're crazy. But I mean, right. This is really, really impressive. Yeah. And it is absolutely crazy to me that Chesney does not, I never see his name mentioned as guys who should be taking the leap. He absolutely should. If you thought that Cignetti was like that damn impressive that he could go to Indiana and turn everything around, well, guess who took over for him? And there's been no drop off at JMU.
Yeah.
That is insane. So,
I agree. I mean, that's the kind of guy I'd be looking to hire. Like, Cignetti was an absolute monster. That program obviously is a bit of a sleeping giant in the group of 5. I need to get that pipeline going. Absolutely. So, Indie Grinder says we should do every week like that. You up for that? We'll just do every week where you just go for 30 minutes and I just sit here and agree.
Absolutely not. Well, maybe in week 12, 13, maybe 14 or something, but I'm not giving away an entire card weeks 1 through 9 or 10 or whatever.
That's right.
I mean, there's too much money.
Maybe we'll make it part of the RAS college football package. We'll do like a subscribers only show. I'll pitch it to Ed. A couple people have asked about this, Eddie. UNLV and Hawaii on Friday.
Yeah, that's a really significant game. We should talk about that. I took the dog at 3.5 very early in the week, and I think you're going to get 3.5 tomorrow too if you wait. 3s are being juiced. I don't know why people like UNLV all of a sudden, but I want you to think about this just on terms of like numbers handicapping. So last week, Utah State closed 4 at UNLV, lost in overtime by 3. Shouldn't have lost in overtime. The kicker misses a 27-yard field goal to end the game. Whatever. Shit happens. But now Hawaii's 3 or maybe even 3.5. If you're trying to tell me that Hawaii is the same power number as Utah State, you're out of your mind. Hawaii they have 2 losses on the entire season. They've absolutely blown the doors off everybody. The last time we saw Hawaii, they beat San Diego State and didn't score in the 4th quarter because they didn't have to. They were up 38-3 or whatever. I mean, their defense is good. Their quarterback is legit. I really don't quite understand the love for UNLV all of a sudden. I mean, like, I bet UNLV against Colorado State think I laid 4.5, and I was nervous. And Colorado State had quit on the year. UNLV's defense doesn't show up for long stretches of games. Their offense is only as good as the other defense allows them to be. I mean, I can make a case for playing the over here if you're sketchy about playing Hawaii. But I just thought that the dog, especially in a spot where one of these teams is going to go to the championship game of the Mountain West, I'm pretty sure. So this is a must win for both. But yeah, I'm going to take the dog in a spot like that pretty much every time. So yeah, I feel good about Hawaii.
Just a couple of more because I don't want to hold you. But a couple people have asked about Oklahoma and Missouri.
Yeah, I don't have anything. That's just like in week 13, if I'm looking at Oklahoma and Missouri, I'm probably doing something wrong. I mean, like I looked at it as far as I made a number, but I mean, like, I don't know. That's just not the kind of game that I really want to get involved in. It's just like I made the SEC is tough on sides specifically. I just feel like I'm playing, I'm betting the NFL at that point. I mean, I think I made it 7. It came out 8. And it's like Pribula might play for Missouri. That's kind of intriguing. I made the total 43. It came out 42. If he plays, then the total's too low. If he doesn't, the total's too high. I'd rather just look at MAC and Sunbelt and Mountain West kind of edges this time of season.
Sounds good. Well, folks, I want to say thanks as always for tuning in to the RES College Football Show. There's a week 14, right?
Yeah, we're here next
week 14.
Week. Yeah, and there's a lot of marquee games next week too. So.
Yeah, week 14, and then the plan, and we'll see. It's just a plan. The plan is to do some bowl stuff, so we'll keep you guys updated on that and apprised of that. As always, thanks for tuning in here each and every week. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page, like the channel, like the video. It obviously helps make what we do much easier, and so we very much do appreciate it. Eddie, man, best of luck this week. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. We need it, and best of luck to everybody out there. I hope all of you guys' end games go well, and also thank you for everybody's DMs about my mother and my family situation. It's really meant a lot to me, so thank you.
Good to hear. All right, folks, until next week, see you later.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.